Welcome, everybody. I have a new background by mistake, but Rachel said it made me look like I'm springier. And since we are moving into spring, even though today in Michigan, we're supposed to have snow flurries and it's 31 degrees, we'll just keep a positive attitude and pretend that it's green behind me there. Welcome. Glad to have you here. I'm seeing some familiar faces. Woohoo. And today we're going to take a look at running your own tech help desk, and we're going to change things out a little bit today. And we're going to slide down. So, our resources for a free version of ChatGPT. I think everybody here has seen this, but if you haven't, you can go out to chat.openai.com and you'll have a free version of ChatGPT. Of course, we love and recommend the paid version, 20 bucks a month. Seems like a great investment. If you're hovering on the edge of deciding if you want to spend that $20, I would highly suggest doing that at some point. And then my co-hosts, Laura Bell and Rachel Foster, are here, and they're going to put your slide deck into the Zoom chat window. So you'll have that to refer back to if you'd like. And I changed out a picture today why we're getting together. Instead of having the cute little people hovering around a desk, I went, no, we need something bolder and stronger to talk about how great we are and how we're going about doing this. The concepts AI is happening, it's here, it is moving rapidly. I just learned two or three new things just this last week and started making some pictures that were perfect, and the spelling was right. So if you haven't gone out and tried doing the pictures, they're pretty amazing and they will duplicate. I'll just share, they'll duplicate if you had something. So I started out one for a different presentation where I wanted a construction worker on a construction site, and it came up and showed them with a big commercial background. And I went, no, I want residential. And so it changed it. It left it the same picture. It didn't start over again, and it changed the background to be residential. And I said, oh, well, this is a man looking at all the AI stuff that was floating in the air above him. Let's have a woman in there as well, a woman construction worker. And it put it in, and it put it in the right spot. It was wonderful. It's totally changed from even a few weeks ago as to what you can do. So if you get a chance, try those graphics. And of course, employees who know how to use this to help their employers are going to become more highly valued. People who don't learn how to use AI will be left behind. And any more success is less about what you know, it's what you can do. And you can do a lot with AI. So, from a financial perspective, each of us wants to be able to work faster, smarter. And I added more enjoyably in here. We have so much fun. Maybe if I have time, I'll share a little thing that ChatGPT talked to me about, but it was fun. And of course, we want to be more efficient. And then for our teams, we want them to be more effective. And for our clients, we would like them to be able to work faster, smarter, and more productively. But you know what? If they don't do it, we can help them do it using AI. So again, I want to keep reiterating that we can turn around and use AI to do advisory work for our clients and help them in so many ways. We're recording for late arrivals. Once we hit 10 minutes, we close the doors. And I saw that Rachel put that out on the alignable that the doors close 10 minutes after. So thanks so much, Rachel, for doing that. So that way it prevents interruptions for on-time participants. Confidential information, yeah, don't put confidential information out there, and work on your own work as you can. And breakout sessions. We're not going to do a breakout session today. We're going to just have everybody run their prompts. We're doing things a little differently today. You're going to run your prompts, and then we'll just share what each one of us came up with. I think that'll be very useful for the sharing part to get together today. Then we don't have breakout rooms, so we just share with each other. Of course, how I got involved in AI, I started exploring over a year ago and I got hooked. I'm addicted. I use it many times a day. And I believe that our other team members use it multiple times per day. So think AI. Back when I first started dipping my toes into this, I did join the Simple AI Consultants group, and they have fantastic training options. If you feel like you want to get into it more deeply, please see me, and I can get you into that deeper, more advanced training. And we've learned how you can use it for every single role in every organization. I've experimented in many cases through a simple custom GPT, how you can use it for different roles in any type of organization. Our flow today, download and save this PDF slide deck. You'll see I crossed out. I'm not going to give you a prompt today. You're going to write your own prompt. It's not going to be very complicated, I'm sure, but you're going to do your own. We recommend using the 4.0 version of ChatGPT. And for today, we want ChatGPT to help you solve a software issue or a question for your company or for yourself. And so these are some idea starters. So, how do I do a particular step in whatever software I'm using? Tell me more about a specific feature in software, but please explain it to me in layperson terms. Another case might be that something unexpected happens in a certain type of software. You hit a button and the thing you thought was going to happen doesn't happen. When I do the following thing, hit the button, right? Why is that happening? Maybe I wanted to create a comparison table to compare features, benefits, and costs of software A, B, and C so that I can figure out which of the available softwares I might want to go ahead and look at and invest in. Or I'm new to a particular software. Where's a good place to start? So, one suggestion I would say would be to go ahead and add your operating system in. So, it's not going to give you answers for Windows 10, Windows 11, and Mac, whatever. I don't know the different levels of Mac, but give it that information. And then start thinking of where these kinds of issues or challenges might apply in your world, whatever it may be. Make a note for yourself. I'm going to say take a moment or two and just look at these examples. Think about, are there any one of these that might apply to you as you have work in your day to day? Everybody getting some idea? 12 minutes, I should have crossed this part out too. 12 minutes, you're going to work with your individual results. So I'm going to suggest that you're going to go into your chat GPT, you're going to write down, you can choose one of these or something else, but write down, put your operating system information in. I would suggest putting in your role and your type of company and the number of people that work in your company. That gives ChatGPT some context in terms of answering your question. I don't always do that if I'm just asking a software question, but I don't know what you're going to ask. So it never hurts to give it a little bit of extra information. And then you're going to go out and you're going to put your issue in. And then I can't cross this out now. We're just going to get together and we're going to use this close to 20 minutes to discuss your results. And people can ask you questions. You can let us know what you did, how it came out, what you think about it, and so on. And then we'll go on to our AI tips, which I think are kind of fun today. Is everybody good with that approach?
Looks like we
Okay.
got a consensus, Diane.
All right. Sounds great. All right. I shall leave this up on the screen for you to look at it for ideas. And I will mute myself. And our co-hosts are probably going to keep putting that slide deck in for the people that have been joining. Okay. I'll mute myself and let you guys go to work. We've got about 3 minutes left, and then we'll all get back together again. Okay, we're back. Welcome back, everybody. I hope that you had some problems that you could ask AI to help you solve. And so what we're going to do this time is let's start out and ask for volunteers. Why don't you raise your hand and then unmute yourself and speak up? And I can't see everybody with my view, so I'm going to ask Rachel and or Laura to select people. And
Yep, I see Michael McClellan. Michael, talk to us.
Well, I put in something here that I knew some information about, and I create a comparison table to compare the features, benefits, costs, browser or PC requirements, and the cons for the various offerings of QuickBooks Online. Please separate the various operating systems for 10, 11, and Mac, and limit your response to actual facts on the web. Please ask any clarifying questions before you begin. It did not ask me any questions, so it went through and did a table. And the one thing I noticed is it said Internet Explorer 10, which I'm like not so sure it's still out there, but it didn't have Edge is what I use. So then I said, please research if the MS Edge browser is compatible and update the table. And it did, and it said, oh yes. And I did that, and then I asked it to put it into a Word document, and it froze up until I hit the analyzing button. Then of course it opened a window, the black window with all the code in it. And then it gave me the document. But it's not an editable document, really. Like I can't edit the columns very easily. But anyway, it did it, and it came out with some good and accurate information.
Nice. Thank you.
Cool. And if you had to try to compile that all by yourself, how long would it have taken you?
Oh, at least an hour, probably. Copying and pasting.
All right. So thank you for sharing. That sounds like a good application. Who's next?
I'll go. Lori said, I asked ChatGPT to help me identify what a good replacement computer would be for my home office situation. And I put in the specifications of what I'm currently using, that it's not upgradable to Windows 11, and we know that Windows 10 is going away soon. Put in that I have multi-monitor requirements, put in a size limitation, and that I wanted to stick with a Dell product. It gave me some really clear, concise information about choices I have in either purchasing new, purchasing refurbished, what specifications I should look for. I then asked it to view the Dell Outlet website and provide me samples of 5 computers that could potentially be available that meet these specifications and what the price is currently listed at for these. It gave me a really nice table that is exportable out
It
to
looks like
Excel. And then I asked it to dive deeper and look into laptop options and asked it to remove 2 of the desktop options it provided and switch to laptop options. All in all, total time saved, and I asked it that as well, was roughly 2.5 to 3 hours of research time. So pretty cool.
great. Thank you. Now, I know that I saw in the chat that Patricia was apparently out of video momentarily, but it sounds like she's back. Patricia, you want to jump in and share what, above and beyond your little glitch there, what your question for chat was?
Says she doesn't have a microphone on the computer.
Oh,
So
oh,
thank you so
okay.
much.
All right. You can throw something in chat. You
Sure.
can just real briefly let us know via chat, and Laura will read it back for us. Who else do we have that wants to step forward?
Before our workshop here, I did put together a list, and I thought, oh, well, it'll only be 1 or 2 things, but then I ended up with front and back of a list. I've asked it when I've been out and working in an application and I find that the app's help is not useful, I'll go out to ChatGPT and say, hey, I'm in this particular application and I want to do this, or I can't find the information. It really is helpful to give me step-by-step instructions on what I need to do. The other day, I wanted to compare side-by-side Word documents. I wanted to see what was the difference between 2 Word documents. There are applications that you can purchase specifically for comparisons, but you can actually do that in Word, so that was handy. Diane mentioned earlier, and I've done this more than once, I see this message from my application XYZ. What does it mean? What do I do? How do I fix it? One time I asked it, hey, my laptop locks up unexpectedly. What's causing it and how do I fix it? Got lots of good information and went ahead and did some problem solving and determination and applying fixes and hardware device updates, etc. So those are just a few of the things that I've used it for, but anytime lately that I've run into a tech problem, I will go out and ask ChatGPT, tell me what my next steps might be.
Think we'll put our IT support team out of work?
No, it's just so much faster and more convenient. They're still there as a backup, though.
Yeah.
See, Andy's got his hand up.
Yeah.
Go ahead and unmute yourself, Andy.
Hey everybody, Andy Fankhauser, Aqua Luxury Consulting. I did a little bit different. I did it with a software that I've been using. Actually, I've used once at pretty good success called LTX Studios. It's a AI creation, video creation software online, ltxstudios.com if you like to. And I made it make me a infomercial for my business. I don't know. Maybe I'll put it on my website here or whatever, or if I can show it here. But I put as a prompt just in the beginning, how do I use LTX Studio to create an infomercial for my business, which my ChatGPT already knows I'm doing this business consulting, and literally it just cranked out all the prompts back to me. I took that, kicked it into LTX, which runs off AI. And now I'm looking at about a 60 to 90-second infomercial with my brand, my logo, good looking stand-in people, all AI created, and a narrative to go with it. There's a voiceover effect. Yeah, nice. It's exactly what I need because on my website, I don't have that quite yet. And I'd like to have some sort of, hey, welcome to Aqua Luxury Consulting. This is how we do, this is what we do, and what we can do for you. Yeah. Maybe I'll put it on the website here. But let me tweak it a little bit longer.
Nice.
Yeah.
Andy, a quick recap again, the name of the program?
Here, I'll put it in the chat. Hang on one second.
And so many of the new programs out there, little startup businesses and so on, they're building on top of whether ChatGPT or one of the other AI programs to do really amazing specialized things like Andy's talking about. So that's very nifty.
If you'd like to see what it's done for me, I actually created one for my other business, and I'll put that in the link too. It's been awesome. It really has. It's taken $1 million marketing campaigns and reduced them to the one that I did was 15 minutes. Here, I'll put this in the chat as well. It's my other business, not trying to promote it, but just as an example. Yeah, maybe selfish promotion as well. The Aqua Luxury down below is my other business. If you scroll down to near on the bottom of the first landing page, there's a video called Gallons of Giving. You can check that out. That was entirely created by AI as well.
And then in your chat, be sure that you've got selected everybody in the chat when you put the
Oh, yes, I
links
do.
in.
Great point. Diane. I've been kicking it out to Diane. Apologies. Diane, there you go.
I had left Andy a message. He and I had a chat yesterday, and I just put a message in for him, but then he didn't see that it was still. So he'll put that out for everybody else.
Yep.
And I did want to share what Pat had messaged to us. She said she asked to compare and contrast QBO and FreshBooks for a small client that she has. She got a nice document that she copied and pasted into Word and shared with her client. She was impressed because she'd spent time on the web and the phone trying to get information and take notes. So that's awesome. That's awesome.
Nice. Now I know Janice is here. Janice Martin. Are you willing to share? Just unmute yourself.
Yeah,
yep, she's
I
unmuted.
found the button. So yeah, I told it that I work in Windows and I'm brand new at this. When I start investigating a software, I really like to know the ins and outs and how I'm going to use it. A lot of people tend to buy software and then don't take full advantage of it, which software is expensive. So even at $20 a month, it seems nominal, but when you have 7 subscriptions at $20 a month, that's 140. It does add up. I'm approaching this as if I'm investigating. Is this something I can use? Which you've already shown that. So I said, I work in Windows 11 and want to know the features and advantages advantages of subscribing to OpenAI. And it told me, of course, and then it mentioned something about tokens. And I said, tell me about tokens. How do tokens work? And so they explained about tokens, and which I had no clue what a token is and why a token matters. The next question I asked is, I went down a rabbit hole, and I wasn't interested in duplicating some software I already have. So I wasn't wanting to do that. Oh, and then I asked, what is best way to learn OpenAI? And they did break it down to say you need to define your goals. What do you want? And for me, this is such a wide open area. It's hard for me to define my goals because there's no boundaries here. So it gave me things to think about, and it gave me different levels and different steps as to how to go about tackling this monster.
I'm going to offer some advice. The best way to tackle it is just use it. And you'll keep thinking. You'll keep thinking about it.
And I have been, and I've been, instead of just going out and Googling something, I have it open on my desktop all the time. I do go to it. I ran into a limitation with Excel, working on a macro, and it helped me solve my macro problem with Excel.
Nice, nice. Is there anybody else we haven't heard from? Okay, is Vanika available?
Lovely meeting. I basically went down a rabbit hole. I went into Power Automate and started creating connections, and it aborted and it gave me errors. I just wanted to see if Outlook emails can be converted into planner tasks in an intentional manner, not in an automated fashion where you just say, if an email comes, then add a task. You trigger the action. So it needs a bit more understanding of Power Automate. And oftentimes when I get into this, I ask ChatGPT to send me to a video that could help, because reading prompts is sometimes difficult to follow. It seems like it's in a different language. It's just too cut and dry.
Here's an idea or two. Now, first of all, you might want to talk to Laura because Laura's been poking around with Power Automate, right, Laura?
I have, and I had a couple of ideas on that. First, I started out and said, oh, Copilot. I'll use Copilot and see if it can answer my questions in Power Automate. It was able to answer some, and then it went, oh, that's all that you can have for this chat. You have to start a new chat. So I did that 3 or 4 times, and it went, no, that's enough for me. I'm not using you anymore. I had a tantrum and said, no, I'll go back to ChatGPT. So I went to ChatGPT. It was able to help me more, Vanika, but Power Automate is, even though it's using things that you can go, oh, this is some kind of an object and it does this, it truly is, as far as I'm concerned, it's another programming language, and your objects contain little bits of information, and as you go into the flow, the things that you think you should be able to continue to use, all of a sudden they've disappeared. As far as I'm concerned, Power Automate is another programming language, and you have to learn the programming language as you go. So I had to set Power Automate aside for a little while because my impressions of Power Automate were that it was going to be easy to use, drag and drop, and or specify something to go through a flow. And it's not that easy. You have to do a deeper dive, just like you do with learning another programming language. That's where I ended up with Power Automate. Like I said, I had to set it aside, but the GPT tool that I ended up having much more success with was ChatGPT over Copilot. So that's just my feedback on that.
Thank you. And yes, ChatGPT doesn't always get us exactly where we want to go, but lots of times it gets us partway there and at least enough to make some other decisions. I see Simon Ackerman is here. Simon, I haven't spoken with you in some time. Glad to see you here. Could you share what you put in for your just unmute and let us know what happened when you asked ChatGPT for help?
So I'm using obviously QuickBooks, and I've been using ClockShark. I used to use Exact Time. And with that, I've been using the ClockShark for a while and really like it. But then, so like I've been flowing more into like custom high-end home building and have dibbled with the builder trend. But I haven't been getting using my investment wisely because I get bogged down with all the input of all of it. And I'm small. And so with this next job I have coming on, I want to be able to use it more. So I asked it what was my best option and which route. And basically it came up with you should probably go with Builder Trend and the QuickBooks integration. And if you can import or export in from the ClockShark, then that's a good option. But if you can't, then just stick with the Builder Trend and the QuickBooks integration. And I really love Builder Trend. I just have not been able to commit through a whole job because it's a lot of work and a lot of things, but I like the platform. It's awesome. And I'm definitely going to move forward with it, hell or high water, to
Round enough.
promote anything.
Yeah, it's been around enough so that you should, if you have questions as you're working through Builder Trend, I would imagine that ChatGPT will have some good answers for you if you run into a wall or anything. So
Yeah, it
good.
definitely gave a whole bunch as you keep communicating with it. And it's to the point of this meeting, it can be another tool in the box.
Matthew, I don't think we've heard from you, have we? Want to jump into the group?
Let's see. Thanks so much, Diane. This is really a very interesting group, and I'm impressed at what you've been able to do with the Simple. I know Diane through Simple, the academy and the consultants. She's much more advanced in the program than I am. I'm working with some things a little slower than she is. One of the things that got mentioned recently was this idea of an MCP protocol for agents. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's something that I think maybe Diane will be presenting to you later on, but I had seen it in one of the introduction videos that she presents periodically, usually every week. And I wanted to understand the MCP agents and automation better. I've been seeing on LinkedIn a lot of people offering these chains of modules for lead generation, things like that. I work as a marketing agency. And I thought it would really be nice if I could make one of those and pass it along to a client, because clients always want leads. And the offers that I see on LinkedIn is if you type in the word leads and I'll send you this thing. But when I get it, it's all gobbledygook. I can't make heads or tails out of it. And then, of course, they want you to buy something from them and they'll make it for you. So I'm really not getting anywhere in learning how to make it myself. So that's what I asked it today. So very quickly, if you just type in MCP agents, you get Microsoft Certified Professional back. So you have to really say to it, what does MCP mean? So Model Context Protocol is an open protocol that enables seamless integration between LLM applications and external data sources and tools. And I'm like, wow, I'm in deep water already, okay, because I'm not doing any of that. But it says if you're looking to understand it, we'll give you a foundational and practical knowledge. And then it began to give me, would you like to make something? Do you want a tutorial? What level do you want it at? Very quickly, I got tools to use that connect with MCP, and there's agent frameworks, tools platform, et cetera, et cetera. So rather than read it all to you, I just wanted to say that very quickly, I was able to see that there's a stack of tools to use. There's a way to use them in order. Is there a case study or a project that you'd like to build? And what level am I at in terms of learning? And then there would be some structure in the tutorials that it would give back. I found that the exercise very helpful, but it's like I said at the beginning, it was something that I was curious about, and now I understand the depth and breadth, but I can get something structured so that I can learn it better using AI. And I would imagine I'd learn it a lot quicker this way than tromping through YouTube videos and clicking on send me leads or whatever on LinkedIn. Okay. That's just what I did this morning with that.
So you kind of set up, you had curiosity about something, and then you were able to go find out more about it and more about it, and chat offered to help you in whatever way that you wanted assistance. I find it does that for me every once in a while. I'll ask it to do something, it does it, and then it says, oh, and now do you want me to do this? It's a very helpful assistant sitting next to me wanting to help out. Am I missing anybody? Shy? Let's thank you, Matthew. And yeah, love seeing you in the simple group. Shy, do you want to share? And then we'll
Okay.
move on into our tips.
Okay. So for me, out of curiosity as well, like I've been using Adobe Acrobat for so long, but I haven't really explored like what are the other options, like software options for PDF, like the one that can really edit, the one that can really export to other platforms. So that's where my chat GPT went through. So I checked on what are the available options in the market and which are the cheaper ones for Adobe Acrobat and which are the similar features with it. So it provided me few options, like around 8 options, and it provided me as well like summary on based on costing, based on how many team members can use it, and then at the same time it provided me as well options which are best for my devices. So it made me curious as well because I haven't heard of the some of it. Like I have one in mind, but I never knew that there are other options in the market that can be replacement for Adobe Acrobat. So for me it's a really a good tool as well, like to have like other options when you're exploring alternatives for the ones that you are currently using right now there.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. Okay, everybody, this was a little different. We just had everybody jump in and talk about what they did and listen to the variety of things that we got from people. And I hope hearing how other people are using it is helping you open your brain to even more creative applications. This, of course, is our kind of ad page. You guys will get all of this with the links. All of these pieces down here are products that I have created over the years of helping people do job costing and work in QuickBooks Desktop. And so if you want to click on any one of these, you can go out and look at the detail underneath it. These are all things that work in conjunction or beside QuickBooks Desktop. And yeah, it can help people do a better job of their job costing. If you want to learn more about the AI resources and advanced AI training options, this is my Calendly link. You can set up a time to get together. And I've already started having conversations with some of you guys in the background, which I've really enjoyed. So AI tips for today: modify your custom settings. And it starts here on the left. You're going to go in. This is my picture, but of course it would be your picture when you go into your Chat GPT. And of course, we use the paid version, the $20 a month paid version. Well worth that amount of money for it. It saves us lots of time and lots of money. But you're going to go in, you're going to do settings. And then after you get there, you're going to have a choice. You're going to go into custom instructions and then go over to this little sidebar. And that's going, and make sure you're on personalization, and this will come up for you. And when you click on the on, then it takes you to customize Chat GPT. And on the following page, I've got stuff from ChatGPT. I added an extra page in, but just a quick example is my role is, and remember, we have to put that in every time, your role and your type of industry and number of people working in your company. You could actually go out and put that out in those custom instructions, and so it will hold that for you. Put in other information about you. You can put in traits for ChatGPT to use. You can say, I want to use a certain writing style. And in mine, I say I prefer that you write things in second person. And then you can put up to, and on the next page, I tell you it's 1,500 characters within 2 different blocks. So you get actually a total of 3,000 characters. And you can give it some pretty specific instructions about who you are, what you want, tone, context, and so on. We like to add the date, time, and estimated time saved to each response. And it doesn't always do it perfectly, but it does it pretty frequently. And if it forgets, you can ask it. But it's just kind of nice. I write a series of articles for the Woodard Report, and we like to put in also in there the approximate amount of time saved. And when you start looking at the time that you save, the $20 becomes next to nothing. If you save an hour here, 2 hours there, what's your time worth? Your time's probably worth 100 to 150 minimum. And yeah, so particularly if you're the owner of a company. And then there are all sorts of advanced usage choices. You can go in and click on things. Like if you want to come across as warm and personal or wise and witty or humorous, whatever, you can click on those things. What I did was I just went out and did a screenshot about the custom instructions, and they're in here for you. And I just highlighted, again, anything that we put in about AI is temporary at best. So I said, as of April 2025, that's pretty current as of today. It tells you what their custom instructions features are. Your character limit of 1,500, totaling 3,000 characters. And then it gives you some hints about how to put things in. It's worth spending some time getting that information filled out. Now, that's not the only place. There's also another thing called memories that we'll touch on another time. But I just thought I wanted to share those tips with you. So, what's coming up? So, one of the things I was going to ask, I don't think we really have time, but could you raise your hand? Last time, as a quick tip, we said, why don't you track your time saved? If anybody did that, would you raise your hand and maybe Laura can do a count for me? Did anybody do that last time? Laura said it might be crickets.
I've got a number.
Okay. What's our number?
I'll say 3. Okay. So
okay.
we don't want to embarrass anybody. But
Okay.
I want to add a tip, Diane. I tried this and I was really amazed. So I have a tendency to do separate chats for my different queries. And I have multiple requests and questions. So it's always telling me how much time it saved for each one. And then it occurred to me, when I got to the end, I said, okay, well, how much total time did you save me for all of the questions in this chat? And it made a nice little table and tallied it up. So that's just a thought. If you have separate chats, you can tell it to tally it up for you.
Okay. Okay. One idea to try before our next workshop would be sit down and ask it about new revenue streams. What can I do in my company to add some new revenue streams? What's it going to hurt? Maybe come up with some cool ideas or things that you can put together with something else that you're doing or some add-ons or whatever. Just go out and ask. Who knows? Make it a brainstorming partner. Looking ahead this Friday, we're going to be looking at and using predictably irrational, the hidden forces that shape our decisions. The New York Times says it's an entertaining look at human foibles. And the thing is that we think we're behaving rationally, but in fact we aren't. But because we're behaving irrational, it can be predictable. So I think that's pretty interesting. So we'll be looking at that book on Friday. And then 2 weeks from now on our Tuesday AI at Work session will be how do you get a glowing review? What's some ideas from ChatGPT for getting glowing reviews? You can never get too many of those. And think about what is your preferred review site. Is it Google My Business? Is it Find a Pro Advisor? Is it different industries have different places where those reviews can be accumulated? And so figure out how AI can guide you from drafting your request to getting it posted. I'll do my best to get you a prompt to get you started next time. Today was a little bit more of a free for all, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I think I saw, yeah, Michael said he'd like to explore projects in the future. And we did just touch on those before, but yeah, we could go back and look at projects. So,
Yeah, I'm starting to organize all the related chats into projects and just need more practice on that too. But I also just copied that tell me the time I saved into my customization. So I'll have that number next time.
cool. That's good to have reminders. I put all these little tidbits out here and it's hard to remember everything. So I appreciate you guys. And it's exactly at the top of the hour. We're finishing on time. And so I'll plan on seeing a lot of you on Friday. And so glad to have everybody here today. And please come back. We'll keep exploring all sorts of new and interesting ways to explore ChatGPT. I'll wave goodbye. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Diane. Always appreciated.
Okay. Good to have you here.
Always. Talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Cheers.